Chapter 6. The Tamiami Trail cut a straight line through the Florida Everglades. Asphalt radiated absorbed heat into the humid night air. Danny Vance steered a borrowed Audi down the two-lane highway. The digital map on the dashboard screen pulsed with a red dot. The dot represented Easton Cross. The signal originated from Easton's cloned burner phone. Bo taught Danny the cellular exploitation protocols in their concrete cell. Danny followed the ghost into the swamp. The red dot held a steady position. Mile marker 42. Danny decelerated the Audi. The headlights swept across a stretch of crushed limestone shoulder. A black Tesla Model S sat parked feet from the edge of a deep, stagnant canal. The vehicle showed zero exterior lights. Tall sawgrass reached the door panels. Frogs screamed from the black water. Danny killed the engine. He drew the Glock 19. He opened the door and stepped onto the gravel. The humidity hit his chest like a wet fist. He smelled sulfur, rotting vegetation, and the sharp, metallic tang of fresh blood. He approached the Tesla. He kept the weapon raised. The driver's side window featured a spiderweb fracture. A hole the size of a golf ball broke the center of the tinted glass. Danny looked inside the cabin. Easton Cross sat behind the steering wheel. His chin rested on his chest. A dark, jagged exit wound ruined his left temple. Blood coated the white vegan leather seat. Blood pooled in the center console cup holders. Easton wore a bespoke navy suit. The expensive fabric absorbed the gore. Danny lowered the Glock. He stared at his own face on a dead man. Easton underestimated Jack Solis. The cartel boss sent a crew. They bypassed the mansion's security. They grabbed the offshore broker. They drove him out to the sawgrass and executed him. Easton died, believing his financial leverage offered a shield. The money failed. Danny reached through the broken window. He unlocked the door. He pulled the flush handle. The heavy door swung open. He searched Easton's pockets. He found a thick manila envelope tucked inside the jacket. Danny tore the paper flap. Stacks of bundled $100 bills filled the envelope. A payoff. Easton planned to pay Howard to eliminate Jack Solis. Easton lost the race. Twin beams of halogen light pierced the darkness in the rearview mirror. A vehicle approached from the east. A heavy engine growled, breaking the swamp chorus. Danny looked at the headlights. He looked at the dead man. He looked at the envelope of cash. He formulated a plan in 3 seconds. He grabbed Easton by the lapels. He hauled the dead weight over the center console. Easton's limbs possessed the stiffness of initial rigor mortis. Danny shoved the corpse into the passenger footwell. He pulled a reflective silver sunshade from the back seat. He threw the stiff material over the body, concealing the shape in the shadows beneath the dashboard. Danny climbed into the driver's seat. He sat in the pooling blood. The warm liquid seeped through his tailored charcoal trousers. It stuck to his skin. He ignored the revulsion. He shut the door. He pressed the window control, lowering the shattered glass into the door panel. He placed the envelope of cash on his lap. He placed the Glock under his left thigh. A dark gray Ford Explorer pulled off the asphalt. It parked 10 feet behind the Tesla. The headlights remained illuminated, flooding the Tesla's cabin with harsh white light. A heavy door slammed. Heavy footsteps crunched on the limestone gravel. Captain Tip Howard walked into the light. He wore a dark windbreaker over his linen shirt. He held a heavy mag light in his left hand. His right hand rested on the grip of his holstered Sig Sauer. Howard reached the window. He shined the flashlight beam into Danny's face. Danny squinted against the glare. He summoned the Easton Cross smirk. He channeled the arrogant offshore broker. He ignored the smell of brain matter and blood coating the interior air. "Turn off the beam tip," Danny said. Flat, irritated tone. Howard lowered the flashlight. He leaned down, resting his massive forearms on the doorframe. He sniffed the air. "You smell like a slaughterhouse, Easton. You picked a bleak spot for a transaction." "A stray animal hit the windshield," Danny said. "I require a detailing service." Howard chuckled. The sound resembled a shovel scraping concrete. "You lack your usual polish. You sit in the dark. Your face holds a strange tension." Danny dropped his hands to his lap, touching the envelope. "Jack Solis sent a crew to my home. They bypassed the gate. I handled the situation, but the perimeter requires an upgrade. I relocated." "You killed cartel muscle?" Howard arched a gray eyebrow. Disbelief painted his sunburned face. "You hire men to do your bleeding. You abhor physical labor. Survival alters preferences." Danny lifted the manila envelope. He held it out the window. $50,000. A down payment. You requested the ledger. I deliver the ledger when you deliver Jack Solis. Howard took the envelope. He tapped the thick paper against his palm. "We negotiate a different deal. I demand the book tonight. Jax holds the city hostage. I need the encryption keys to lock him out." The board changed. Danny maintained eye contact. "Jack Solis tracks my movements. He knows about my properties. I brought the cash to secure your immediate services. You intercept Solis. You terminate his operation. I hand you the ledger tomorrow." Howard studied Danny's face. He looked at the blood-soaked collar of Danny's shirt. Easton's blood. Howard assumed the offshore broker survived a messy altercation. Howard smelled desperation. Howard loved desperation. Desperation increased his profit margin. "Solis put $500,000 on your head," Howard said. 50,000 buys an hour. It buys 0 loyalty. 50,000 buys your tactical unit for 12 hours. You possess the resources to orchestrate a raid. You find a pretense. You hit his territory. You eliminate the problem. "I require a location for the final exchange," Howard said. He slipped the envelope into his windbreaker pocket. Danny thought of the address Trish mentioned during their planning session. A front for Jack Solis's money laundering. Surplus Armory. Doral. Tomorrow night. Midnight. I bring the ledger. You bring confirmation of Solis's demise. Howard nodded. A slow, deliberate motion. You play a high-stakes game, Easton. You step out of your weight class. Keep the book safe. I expect an easy transaction tomorrow. Howard pushed off the door frame. He turned his back. He walked toward the Ford Explorer. Danny gripped the Glock under his thigh. He tracked Howard's spine. A center mass shot resolved the issue. He pushed the urge down. Howard needed to die, but Howard needed to die in the crossfire. A dead cop in the swamp initiated a massive manhunt. A dead cop in a cartel shootout closed the case. The Explorer engine revved. The SUV reversed onto the asphalt. The taillights faded into the distance, heading east toward the city. Danny sat in the dark. He listened to the frogs resume their chorus. He reached into the passenger footwell. He pulled the sunshade back. Easton's dead eyes stared at the roof panel. The mirror shattered. The original ceased to exist. Danny Vance held the identity. He held the cash. He held the power. He shifted the Tesla into drive. He steered the bloody vehicle onto the Tamiami Trail. He drove toward the neon grid of Miami, pulling 2 apex predators toward a single point of collision.